was when my son was born.
Hold on, man. I was there. It didn't seem like it was nothing scary to me.
Okay, so you weren't there when, so let me kind of back up a second, right?
All
So
right.
I remember it was on a Tuesday. So my wife, she had a due date, and the due date passed, and the doctor basically said, "Hey, since you don't have a due, the baby hasn't come yet. If the baby hasn't come by Tuesday, you all come down and 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever time it was that particular day, and we're gonna, what they call it, induce her or whatever, and
Yeah,
do all that
that's
stuff."
it.
Yeah. So we went on that Tuesday, and that Tuesday morning we got there, and they did all the stuff they needed to do. And so we were just kind of sitting there waiting for things to happen, waiting for it to just naturally occur. And then probably I'd say that went on for a couple of hours, come in and find out if you dilated to the right amount or whatever, and all this stuff. And it just wouldn't happen. And then next thing you know, um, uh, maybe around 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon, the doctor comes in, and he's noticed that the heart rate was doing some funny stuff on the screen. Okay. And so he's like, he comes in and he's noticing that, he's like, "We got to take this baby right now because
Oh
it's."
man.
And so, like, my eyes get big, and I'm looking at my Aisha, and it was like they're starting to rip all this stuff off of her, and they're rushing her to like some back room to do like the C-section. And like, I don't know what's going on. We had our daughter or whatever and stuff, but um, so this is my first time experiencing all this because my daughter's, technically my stepdaughter, but I call her my daughter. Been in her life since she was 1 years old, but okay.
Yeah.
So we're I'm back there, and I'm like, what is going on? My wife is nervous, and I'm nervous because it's just it became like super heightened, super stressful at that moment, and I'm just sitting there like,
Man, goodness gracious.
I'm praying that everything is gonna be okay,
I
right?
know, right?
And so they do what they need to do, and they take him or whatever. uh and I just remember like looking over at my wife after he comes out, after they pull him out or whatever and stuff, and the first thing I thought about was, geez, that boy's ears are big. That's the first thing I thought about. And then after that, I just looked at my wife. I was like, I don't want to do this again. So
Wow.
I was just like, I mean, because it was just a traumatic experience for me.
Yeah.
You see all these TV shows and stuff, and you're like, everybody's just, especially when you see things like these water births and all this, and
Yeah.
it just was not that experience for us
Yeah.
back there in the back of the room. And it was just like, man, what is going on? And then I remember, uh, they do all these tests on the baby when they first come out, and the the nurse said that she, now this is like, mind you, like a couple hours later after just having him, that she was doing like his hearing tests and his
Hmm.
hearing check or whatever. And she said that she noticed that he was not responding to the tones or whatever and stuff. And so I'm like, oh my
Okay.
God, what's going on?
Now
It's
you
just,
got this going on.
yeah. And so she came in and said that. And then what she told us was, she said, but I'm gonna retest him because my daughter did the same thing, and I had to put my daughter on the side to notice. And so she came back and was like, yeah, I did that. And yeah, he responded to the hearing test. Yeah, and it was just like one thing I did. It was just like, uh I just thought about something like, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, that to me was probably the scariest moment, big as and especially being like, new father of a brand new baby boy. And it was just, wow, I was blown away.
Yeah.
It was very, I was very nervous at that moment.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Why does it always have to be the births?
I don't know.
That's
I
that's
don't know.
that's what I'm thinking right now. So, I remember mine vividly. We were like we had just purchased our house. Just purchased a home, and we were actually having our housewarming, and everybody came over. It was really nice. It was Mother's Day weekend, and Jonah wasn't born yet. I think Shanika was about 7 months pregnant, and we everything was just great. We had a good day. It was a really busy day, so we laid down, and for some reason, Shanika couldn't really sleep that well that night, and so she just, I guess, decided to just get up and go sit on the couch or whatever. And it became like that Monday. I think this was like early that Monday morning, and I was going to work that morning, and I got up, and Shanika's like sitting up in the chair, and she's like, "I'm like, honey, what are you doing? Like, why are you up so early? And why are you not in the bed?" She said, "I just feel uncomfortable, or whatever, so I just decided to sit out here." And I said, "Okay." So she said, "Well, we have the doctor's appointment today, so I'll go to the doctor's appointment and we'll, figure out what's going on then." So I'm just thinking like this is nothing big. I was like, "Well, I'm gonna go to work," and then she's like, "Okay, that's fine." She said, "Just I'll see you at the doctor's appointment." So I had to leave work a little early to go to the doctor's appointment. I was gonna go to the doctor's appointment. I was gonna come back to work. Went ahead and went to work. Got to work. Went to the doctor's, and we told the doctor, who said, she's been experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. What's going on? And he was looking, and they hooked her up. You know how they do all the tests and everything. And he said, well, we kind of know why she's having all this pain. She's having contractions. What?
At seven
So
months.
yes, she was having contractions at 7 months, and she was like just going through it like a soldier. And I'm saying, thank God that she didn't just have the baby in the house, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So we went there, and he was like, "We got to take her to the hospital right now." So I went back to work, got all my stuff together. And then they were like, "We need this hospital right here doesn't have a NICU. We need to get you to a hospital that has a NICU."
What's
So they were
that?
like, it's where they take premature babies.
Okay.
And the hospital we were at, they didn't have the facility, the equipment and everything to take a child that was being born early. So they're like, "This baby is coming, and we're going to try and stop this baby from coming so you guys can get to the other hospital." It was like that.
Mm.
So me, first time dad, I am nervous. I am a wreck. I'm a wreck. When I hear this, I just put my head down, and I couldn't hold back the tears, man. I was like, "Oh my gosh, my baby is in trouble. My wife is in trouble." I was so upset. So we ended up going to the other hospital. We got there, and when we get there, everything was just so nice. People were so nice. And the hospital that we were at before, they stopped the baby from coming. They did everything that they were supposed to do. I was really happy with how they handled everything. They made us feel good about everything too. But when we got to the new hospital, they said, "Here we have everything we need to take care of the child once the child is born. But we're not going to stop the baby from coming. If he or she," because we didn't even know what the sex of the baby was.
Okay.
We had decided we didn't want to know. So they said, if he or she wants to come, they're going to come. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So we got there like on, I think she might have had that stuff going on that Monday, and then we ended up really like going up there. I think they got everything to calm down, and then that Wednesday, I think she started having some more issues or whatever, and then that's when they took us to the other hospital. When we got there that Wednesday, and she was having off and on contractions from Wednesday till Sunday.
Wow. So that went on for a week.
Yes, bro. Yes. and he ended up coming on that Sunday. He ended up being delivered on that Sunday. Premature. He was still like almost 4 pounds, I think, or right around 4 pounds or so. So I mean, I think he was like 3 pounds, 14 ounces at 7 months. So he was a
Wow.
pretty big boy.
Yeah.
But man, you talk about somebody was like so nervous. I remember being in there, and like I said, the doctor said something just like they said to you all. She was like, "The heart rate is jumping. We need to get this baby out of here."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And we had this room and had a TV in there. And can you believe what movie was playing during Jonah's birth?
Nah, what?
Superman 1, the one that was probably, they made that one back in the 90s. And then when they came back and made the new one,
Uh-huh.
this was that Superman. So they played Superman back to back.
Okay.
He was actually born during those movies. Like it was, it was so cool, man. I was like, oh man. So like that's when I started calling Superman Jonah. And so we got there and we pretty much, they were like, he's not ready to go home because he didn't weigh enough. And wasn't a whole lot of other stuff going on, but we had to stay up there for 6 weeks
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
until
that.
he was able to come home. But man, thank God everything was pretty smooth up there. I mean, you go through a lot of stress even in those 6 weeks because you just ready to take your baby home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably my most nervous moment, or my the time that I was scared as a dad. Now I got an honorable mention.
Okay. Hey, but
Okay.
first, let's clap it up to our wives, man, for just being troopers, man,
Oh
doing all
yeah.
the situation,
Oh
man.
yeah.
Let's clap it up for them, man. Because I
Yeah.
mean, I tell you, man, like I didn't know all the details of what you were just saying, as far as with you and Shanique, and it sounds like you didn't know all the details that I shared with you as
Yeah.
far as with, Israel being born. But yeah, man, it's just yeah, it was it was very very uh stressful, I'll
Yeah.
say.
It
You know,
was.
because you don't know what is about to go on. You don't know what is about to happen. And then when these doctors come in there and they're snatching everything off, and they making a big deal out of it, man, I was, I was shook, man. It was just, yeah, it was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. But
But what else you got?
the honorable mention was he was probably, I would say, maybe one and a half or something like that, maybe. And we've always had him sleep in his bed. From early on, we had him sleeping in his bed. So he's used to being in his room, but every now and then he tries to creep in our room, right? So
Mm,
this was just one of those nights that he crept in our room, and I don't know, we might have brought him in there or something. And Jonah's a wild sleeper, man. Like you can't sleep with him.
yeah,
It's like he just wants to put his feet on you, wants to kick you out the bed, kinda. And if you go in there and you see him in his bed, man, he's all over the place. But it's his bed. Let him sleep how he sleeps.
right.
But when he's in my bed, it's a different story
Yeah,
because I
you
need to
gotta
get my
sleep how
rest,
you sleep.
right? So he's kicking me all on my side, and I'm like, man, it's enough is enough, man. Like I'm going in the other room, you know. And I went into our guest bedroom, and I slept in there. Why? The next few minutes, I hear this big thump
Oh,
in the other room.
yeah.
Yeah. He rolled over, thought I was there, and I wasn't there.
Oh man.
He got up, he was crying, and he had like a little mark on his head or something like that. And I was like, and at that point, you just like, man, I want to make sure my baby is okay.
Right.
So it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, honey, what we gonna do? And we both came to the conclusion that we need to take him to the hospital and make sure he's all right. So we took him to the emergency room. They, the middle of the night, man, took him to the emergency room. They got the X-rays on him and everything, and he was all right. But man, that was a stressful day too, man.
Yeah.
Gotta love it though. Everything
Yeah.
turned out good.
Oh yeah. I think at some point most kids have fallen out of the bed at some point.
I know. I told one of my other friends that, and he was like, he said, yeah. He said, I was changing my baby one day, and then he rolled over real quick, and he was in the floor.
Yeah.
Like, he was all right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, yep.